This isn't a sketch. It's just an introduction. I mean it. Please be advised, the following podcast is not your typical episode of From the Hideout. This episode was recorded at a video rental shop located at the Immigration Museum as part of their Joy exhibition. The interactive exhibition was created by artist Callum Preston, who you'll also hear chime in. And now, without further delay, let's join our hosts, Djovan, Tony, and me, Pete, at Videoland. See, I told you it wasn't a sketch. Why doesn't anyone take me seriously?
How on earth do we explain for people listening in audio format where we are?
It feels like the 80s.
Yeah.
But it's probably the 90s.
We are sitting in a video shop. To all intents and purposes, this is a video shop from probably the mid-90s or the late 90s, I think.
We're in an incredible exhibition that Callum Preston has set up called Videoland. And what's in Videoland, Pete?
It's everything you ever thought about when we were growing up, really, in our formative years, perhaps. Just stepping back in time to see these wonderful titles, and it sort of leaves the current crop of movies, in my opinion, as marvellous as some may be, it leaves them for dead, because the entertainment level in here is through the roof, and I mean that figuratively speaking.
And what it is it's a micro-detailed recreation of a video shop, including all of the fixtures and all of the titles. Many of the VHS copies have sun-faded covers, like this copy of Last Exit to Brooklyn. And what it does, I find, is it takes something that we would have seen thousands of times in our lives. We would have gone to video shops back in the 90s, back earlier in the 80s, and not thought twice about what we were seeing. And now, of course, you come here and everything is interesting because this is something we haven't seen in the wild for, 10, 15 years?
Yeah, more. And it's right down to the detail is incredible. Popcorn is there on the counter.
I wouldn't have any of it.
Callum hasn't missed one detail,
from the 90s.
I don't think.
But it does make you notice everything. For example, I'm sitting next to a copy of Men of Honor with Robert De Niro and Cuba Gooding Jr. And what I'm realising is, of course, this video art and indeed the opening titles of the film themselves have had to be redone for Australia to add the letter U to the word honour. Because, of course, in America, that U would not have been there.
Yeah. And one of two of those stars have been cancelled. How many more? I mean, let's look at all the titles. How many have been cancelled?
Has Cuba Gooding been cancelled? Is that because he played O.J. Simpson? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But genuinely,
I shouldn't accuse. Thanks for covering me there legally, Tony.
Sorry, Mr. Gooding Jr.
There is every different category from drama, you name it, sports, family, kids, documentary, exactly as you would have seen in a video shop way back then.
Before we recorded this episode, Callum very kindly gave us a tour and revealed that the video shop here has a number of Easter eggs, including if you... am I allowed to say this, Callum?
Please.
Well, I don't want to ruin the surprise for anyone.
That's Callum, by the way, the voice you're hearing now.
He's in the background making sure we're not stealing any of the overnight loan-onlys.
He's zoning in on Tony.
And if you were to pick up a certain type, maybe I won't say the name of the title, but it's possibly the one you'd expect, you will find a laminated card with my name on it. And there's another one which I picked up completely by... well, not random. I just spotted it and went, wow, this is one of my favourite films. And Callum said, like a magician going, check your back pocket. Is that your card, sir? I opened it up and there was a laminated card for Ed Cavalier. So there's all kinds of little surprises waiting for anyone popping down. Now, when is this episode dropping?
It's dropping in July.
So will this exhibition still be still be open?
That's right.
People can come down to
see the exhibition themselves, to see
It's part of the
Videoland.
Immigration Museum's Joy exhibition.
That's
but
right.
It is a fantastic feature.
And do you feel the joy coming in here?
Oh,
We've
yeah,
never been in
definitely.
the space before, but
No.
it feels so familiar walking
Yeah.
through the sea of red, yellow and blue.
And of course, what you only realise when you've been here is, hang on, I'm part of the art now. I'm part of the exhibition because I'm walking around. You know, this is like a piece of art which needs you, the visitor, to complete it.
Yeah.
Really.
It's like a
That's
library,
right.
really, but you are involved in more than one movie that's available
Yes.
in this wonderful shop.
That's right. We did spot a few titles.
Yeah.
Firstly, of course, Pete appears in Crackerjack.
And Bad Eggs.
And there are multiple copies of Crackerjack. One, of course, with a very battered cover. That's the kind of level of detail that
Been
Callum
fondly used.
is executed here.
I've installed my own copies of Lessons with Lewis on VHS. It's in the next to the family kids
In
section.
the TV section,
There are about
you've got
10 of them. No one's touched them.
They're the free ones.
some of the TV section videos go way back to the D generation
That's right.
times,
There's some very old,
which is prior to the Late Show and all that.
possibly
Yeah.
now, the Degenocide title.
Thank
If you
you so
pass that
much.
over, I'm just looking because it's years since I saw this, and I'm assuming there's a lot of material on here which could never be screened publicly anymore. But
That's right. We were looking for people that were cancelled, not to be cancelled because of this exhibition.
as it says here, previously unsmelled matter from the bottom of the degeneration barrel. Enjoy. I'm assuming I wrote that. But yeah.
Tony, do you remember the last time you were in a video shop? You can't remember whether you wrote that, but do you remember the last time? Because we probably didn't know it. We probably didn't know we weren't returning. So it might be a memory we've just forgotten. Do you remember the last
that is
title you've
tricky.
hired?
Probably, yes, I probably do. I think it was Naughty Marietta. I thought I was getting something out of the, the adults only, but it was an MGM musical from 1930.
I can never tell when Pete is telling the truth these days. I'm always, whenever he's just actually being truthful, I'm waiting for the punchline. And when I think he's being truthful, there is a punchline.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know who he is.
No.
All I know is that it's your birthday, Pete. So happy birthday.
As we record, yes, it is my
It is
birthday.
Pete's
And I tell you
birthday.
what, you couldn't have given me a better present coming into this. And I can only recommend it really highly to our
I wish I could be the one to say that I commissioned Callum to make this all a part of Pete's birthday. Imagine that. Did you think you'd be doing this on your birthday, or at least
No, I had
be
no
your
idea.
age,
No.
which is, how
No.
old are you today, Pete?
86.
86 years old, and walking through a simulation of a video shop
Oh, it's
for a
fantastic.
podcast.
It's the best present I could ever expect. And I'm hoping that I know that Tony has already been offered the invitation, but I'd like to sleep over tonight too.
And Pete, just out of interest,
As long as you ask.
what does the rest of the day involve for you? Is it all roads lead to Spearmint Rhino? What exactly is?
No, there'll be no, there'll be no
we've
hot
all
tubs.
practically dropped him off today, just a little too early.
No, I'll get the wheelchair greased up and it's in for maintenance at the moment, but I'll just crawl down Flinders Street and pick it up after this.
I am very flummoxed by that question of when the last time I was in a video shop was. That is really hard. I belonged to a very good video shop for years. It was in your former neighbourhood, really, Carlisle Street, Balaclava.
Oh, right.
And I can't remember what they were called. I remember there was one called Video Flash that was further along, that was down by, well, I was going to say by the KFC, but I think that's now a Dorovich pathology laboratory now.
How fun.
Appropriately enough. This one, Video Flash, what I remember about it was it had a few imported copies, because what would happen is a lot of copies weren't available in Australia. So video shops that were run by nerds would import films from England that technically were in breach of some kind of import or, licensing arrangement. But that video shop had the only copies of these two great films from the mid-50s, Night of the Hunter, remember, with Robert Mitchum, and Sweet Smell of Success with Tony Curtis and Burt Lancaster.
Yeah.
And there was a waiting list of 3 months. You would have to go down and the guy would get out the clipboard and you'd be on the waiting list, and then 3 months later the phone would ring and you could go and rent Sweet Smell of Success. It was the only way to see it because it was never on TV. That's the kind of experience you miss, Djovan, waiting for 3 months for the phone to ring so you could watch a film.
Well, the authenticity that Callum has set up is second to none. But I guess the only thing in an operating video shop there would have been empty spaces on the shelf.
Here comes a note, Callum.
They'd be out being rented. That's not a criticism, Callum. Please don't think it is. But if you wouldn't mind taking one out so we've got an empty space, it would make me feel much more at home.
Okay.
Would you pull out the French lieutenant's woman?
I'll take out the French lieutenant's woman, which is nicely dusty on the top, which has the Video Easy weekly rental sticker on it.
That's right.
Because, of course, there was the weekly rental, and then there was the overnight rental, because that would be a new release. And here's something you probably maybe don't remember, is remember the experience of going to a video shop when a film had just come out and there would be a wall of, I don't know, Terminator 2.
Oh, yes.
And every single one of them would have a cardboard sheet in it saying, what would it say, Callum?
Sorry, I'm out.
Sorry, I'm out.
Yeah.
What a sad evening that would have turned out. I remember those moments when you go in for a title and it wasn't there.
And you couldn't, and there'd be a whole wall of them, but every one of them was sorry, I'm out.
You structured a whole night around hiring that movie.
Right.
And it wasn't there.
And what I remember is, because I was something of I sort of positioned myself on the radio as a bit of a film nerd. If I was at a video shop on like a Friday or Saturday night, I would often have couples come up to me and go, look, we've come down to rent Sleepless in Seattle and it's not here and we can't think of anything else. What do you recommend? Now, here's an interesting call. What would you guys have as your emergency recommendation for those people?
Also, a title that hasn't been hired that you're sure would be...
just one that you know is going to be a surefire...
Human Centipede. No, that wasn't on VHS.
Sadly, no. I'd like to think that all the copies of it were linked together.
Across the shop.
A quadruple case.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't rent just one of them.
I'm trying to think something family friendly, right?
I don't know. My one
so
was...
I'm not going to the foreign film section, which was also a little bit risque
It has to be a surefire hit,
times.
because you don't want to bump into those people the next week and have them say you ruined our evening.
Okay, something with Robin Williams then.
Ah, okay.
Did we like Patch Adams? Is that a good film?
I don't think I've ever seen Patch Adams.
I just remember a scene where one of the people that he helps is in a bath full of noodles.
Ah.
Literally swimming in noodles, and I thought that was really cool.
I love how Callum is now going off to find Patch Adams.
Get me a Patch Adams. Nobody's said that in the last 10 years.
And Thelma and Louise might be one.
Thelma and Louise is a good
film.
Great.
You're thinking, Pete, I'm just scrambling
here.
No,
not at all. I'm just looking over your shoulder.
Aaron Brockovich, cocktail pick.
Yes.
Fried green tomato. And now, see, he's really done his homework here, because he's got steel magnolias next to fried green tomatoes. And that is something you would see at a video shop. They're very much peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about this one?
So.
Perfect.
Perfect with John Travolta.
I feel like the internet has made this one relevant again. I feel like that reel's popped up, that scene where he's exercising and Jamie Lee Curtis is also eyeing him off
and
as well.
Of course, this film...
A lot of thrusting.
It stars John Travolta, Jamie Lee Curtis, Lorraine Newman from Saturday Night Live, Marilu Henner, Matthew Reed, and introducing Jan Wenner, who was, of course, the publisher and founder of Rolling Stone magazine.
Wow.
In a really quite poor acting debut. But do you feel, like this is only just occurring to me now, could that be the reason why the Perfect logo is, of course, in the style of the Rolling Stone logo?
Gee whiz, so it is. That's a great...
Because there's no real reason for Perfect to be written like Rolling Stone. It's a film about aerobics.
You're a video detective.
So there you go. These are the kind of memories and ideas that are unlocked by this exhibition.
And that photo with Travolta gives a new meaning to the phrase hot pants. Doesn't really.
I love how it's
don't touch it.
sun-kissed, this cover.
Yes,
Look
and
at that.
You know, you used to be able to hire that out. There was no hand sanitizer. So
do we want to talk about I Am Sam, or should I put that back on the shelf?
Well, that was actually an Oscar nominee for Best Actor.
Do you also have the score with Edward Norton? Shall we go through them?
Patch Adams seems to be out, but we have Jack.
Oh, we have Jack.
Now, Jack.
Oh, is this another?
Well, you were saying, Patch Adams, something with Robin Williams would be enjoyable.
Yeah.
So,
what's the premise of Jack?
Well, Jack, interestingly,
I should read the blurb.
Interestingly, is directed by Francis Ford Coppola. And I think his last sort of mainstream Hollywood film before he just went virtually independent. But Jack is like the last arrival at a party years too late. Because, of course, in the 80s, you had a number of these body swap films where a young person and an old person would swap bodies. You had 18 Again. You had Dream a Little Dream with the Coreys. You had Like Father, Like Son with, I think, was it Kirk Cameron? And then you had The Good One, which was big with Tom Hanks as an adult in a child's body. And then years later, why on earth would you rehash that premise with Robin Williams?
I'll also add that Bill Cosby's in it, so I'll be giving that back to you, Callum. Thank you so much.
Do you have any other Bill Cosby titles, like Ghost Dad?
I will say, not to rewrite history, but there was some curation in the titles that came into the space.
Okay, what titles didn't make it?
Numerous Bill Cosby stand-up specials that were available on VHS.
Yeah, right.
Would you like to know the most recent film that is available in
What
here?
is
Yes, please.
Because this will help us determine what year we are in. So what is the most recent title?
Based on the title, we would be celebrating 20 years. So 2005, the movie The Terminal with Tom Hanks.
Oh, and was that one of the last?
That was one of the last VHSs. And then there was a strange break. And then in 2007, they made the film A History of Violence with Viggo Mortensen
Yes.
as a VHS component. And everyone said, why are you still doing this? And that was the last one.
Wow.
Yeah. But in this store, Tom Hanks' The Terminal, great film, is the most recent film. So we're 20 years in the future, and it doesn't really, as Pete was saying, it doesn't feel like anything's missing. It all feels like a cohesive collection.
Exactly.
Oh, we've had the exhibition come to life, like in Robin Williams' toys. Is that...
What? I think
Can you hear my segues, listeners?
We can hear a crowd of people.
Sorry, that's the exhibition next door.
So do you often find yourself with a broomstick banging on the wall of your exhibition saying, keep it down?
Well, I've just muted my own audio because there is the jingle, which I wrote and sung myself, Pete, for the exhibition, plays on a loop on this television.
It's movie nights and you know what that means.
Hundreds of titles direct to your screen.
We got drama, action, romance, and thrillers for you. We got comedy, family, and adventure too. All of the choice in the palm of your hand. So come on down to Videoland, Videoland, Videoland,
Videoland. Callum, Preston.
Videoland, Videoland.
We're talking about what was the last time you went to a video shop. Pete, do you remember when video shops first appeared? Can you remember that far back?
Well, no, I don't. It's lost in the mists of time for me. Wouldn't you remember?
I remember, I think it was in New Zealand, it was around about 1984. And people had only had VHS, or in some cases, beta machines in their house since about 1981. I remember them starting then. And it was amazing if you knew someone who could tape a show and then play it back the next day.
Yeah.
But then video shops started. And yeah, there were the two sections. There was VHS and beta.
Yes.
And there were a lot of people. I'll name one of them, Rob Sitch, who well into the 90s would tell you that beta is a superior format because the tape moves faster. So therefore the picture quality is better.
Well,
and I would go, yes, Rob, but you can only rent 30 times. How many times can you watch Caddyshack 2?
Yeah, well, I think the television stations went for the beta process.
Yeah, right,
And they maintained it was a better quality than VHS. When you look at a VHS machine, there's a lot of moving parts in that to bring the tape to the playhead.
A lot of whirring.
An amazing piece of technology, really. But the beta was probably superior, but VHS got the big jump in America.
Yeah,
I think
and as the 80s progressed, you would go to your video shop and the beta section would get smaller and more towards the back of the shop with the pornos.
Yes.
And then eventually there was it was just a bin, a cardboard cutout bin out the front with 50 cents each.
I don't recall an actual legitimate shop like the one you've recreated here, Callum. I don't recall them actually being a porno section.
It wasn't called that, it was the adult section.
An adult section, but at one stage I was offered a couple of pornographic tapes, but I didn't have a pornograph to play them on. So.
Did you hear that? The rim shots even followed us here to this exhibition. It's here live. Callum's playing it right now.
Here's a video shop memory I have. When I first moved to Melbourne, this would have been in 86, I was staying with some people who lived in sort of Malvern, Armidale, that area.
Oh, yes, a high-class area. There'd be more than one shop there, wouldn't
A
there?
lot of antique shops. But in the middle of the High Street Armidale antique shop precinct, there were two rival video shops across the road. And one of them was called ABC Video and the other one was called The Entertainers. And what I remember is there was such a bitter rivalry that the ABC shop had a huge sign out the front that said, The Real Entertainers. And then the Entertainers had a shop saying the A to Z of video, as opposed to the ABC. So it was like this. It was like the film Takeaway with Vince Colosimo and
Did you ever go to one and make sure you weren't seen by the other?
I had cards for both, and you always had to be careful that you didn't produce the wrong one because that was a faux pas.
So you'd go to one, if they didn't have the title, you'd go across the street.
Yeah,
obviously
absolutely.
Changing costume in between.
And putting a false moustache on.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, it sort of reminds me of my hairdresser.
Yes.
Just changing the subject slightly, but what you were saying, my hairdresser, I've been going there for 20 years, and someone opened across the road another hair salon and offered haircuts for $5.
Oh.
And this is even back in the 80s.
Yeah.
This was a big deal, $5 haircuts. What are we going to do? And so they put up a sign, said, we fix $5 haircuts, which really sorted it all out. That's my rivalry story.
No, I love
Wow, he has
those
such a
sort
good
of-
memory
You got
for really
anything else to talk
specific
about
things.
retail?
I love that. I love that.
I was going to say, and this might be blasphemous seeing as we're in a video shop, but
Yes.
I asked whether you could remember the last time you were in one.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know at the time that would have been the last time.
True.
Maybe it aligns with when we first started streaming.
Oh.
So do you remember the first, can I talk about streaming in this space,
Please,
Callum?
yeah, it feels wrong, but
It's
okay,
very
Callum's
wrong.
cleared it.
But do you remember the first TV show or movie you streamed? You came to it a little bit later.
I came to it a lot later.
Peter, I feel like you were quite early with all the streaming.
the
You got onto
streaming,
it
yes, I
from the
was.
beginning. Do you remember
It's
what you
incredible,
first
the
streamed?
things you forget, but no, I'm
It
not
could
sure.
align with the last time you were at a video shop because then you wouldn't need
Well,
physical things. I know
my-
you're going to fight me on this, and I'm not
No,
saying we
I'm
don't
trying
need
to
physical
think
things.
of what
My
it would
my first memories of the streaming wasn't picking up on some movie,
Yeah.
but it was sort of almost like going to YouTube and looking at the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Or Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
Or Laurel and Hardy, because that was my interest from back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So they were the first things, because really it hadn't really come to fruition, the streaming properly.
Yeah.
There were a few titles, and most of them were things that you would have been able to pick up in Videoland.
Yeah.
Well, I remember Netflix had, oh God, I'm going to mention Kevin Spacey, House of Cards. Wasn't that their first show?
Yes, that's an early one, yes.
But then I'm thinking, I reckon I watched that show on DVD. So
Yes, it was available on DVD.
yeah,
It
so
was.
the actual first, because Netflix would have been the first streaming service.
And
I know.
DVD after it was available.
DVDs
then
kind
too.
of changed things drastically because it made buying a film more accessible.
Yes.
It felt like you could, seeing a video in the video shop felt like you'd never own that. You'd only ever
No.
hire it. It seemed too big of a purchase to buy a video of a film and keep it.
And they were really expensive
Yeah,
too.
they were
Like a
super
VHS
expensive.
of a film would be like $120.
Was it?
I remember when
Because that's what because obviously you could rent it, you see.
I remember when The Matrix came out, it was $60
Wow.
because it was really close to the release of the film.
Yeah, that's
And also the DVD was coming out, and it was in that time where
that's what I mean,
Australia would
because-
get releases a few months later after they'd have their American release.
Because
it
if
was in this
wa-
weird grey zone.
If it wasn't $120, then obviously the video shop guy could just go and buy a bunch of
Yeah.
$20 copies.
Yeah.
One of my fondest memories is really a sort of a sideways view of video shops and so forth. When you, Tony, and on more than one occasion, came up with the piracy warning.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Have
it
you
was,
got what
it
you
was
paid for
comedic, but it still had, if it took you by surprise, you'd think, oh, gee, it's for real. And you used to do that quite often. Can you recall one?
Well, I remember on radio, I used to play, in fact, his real name is Steve Britton, the man who says, have you ever bought or rented a video that wasn't quite right? And I used to play him as a character going to parties and
Yes.
people just constantly trying to get him to do that line.
But
and
it's stuck in my mind because you've also used it in TV shows as well.
Yeah, I think Sizzletown has a piracy warning on the start of one episode.
Have you ever bought or rented a
Podcast.
that wasn't quite right? It may have been a pirate
Podcast.
an illegal and inferior
Podcast.
for which you paid
No.
money. Pirated
Podcasts.
are recognisable by poorly presented
Segments by hosts wearing bad
jackets, poor sound and or
joke.
quality, the lack of
Embarrassment.
on the face and spine of the
Host.
and the absence of
Piss takes.
such as this at the beginning of the
Podcast.
presentation.
Putting that on the front of the episode worked like this exhibition. I had so many people contact me and go, "Oh my God, I remember that phrase." That
That's
what
wonderful.
is the thing about pirated copies are distinguishable by poorly presented jackets or something? And that always led to a
Low
joke
picture
about
quality.
Daryl Summers. Exactly.
No, well, I think really for you, Tony, having heard this particular episode of From the Hideout, I wonder whether anybody listening to this now might ring up Sizzletown and talk about their reminiscence about a video.
I think that could be arranged, definitely.
I reckon there'd be people who'd love to, put you to the test, really.
Well,
You've got an
yeah.
amazing knowledge, but there
Yeah,
must
sure.
be some other, I don't mean nerds, forgive me saying,
Oh, no, there's-
but other aficionados.
Oh,
that's
we
a better
have-
word.
we have
I'm starting
one
to think Pete
who
thinks all
would,
the
be
characters are
interested
real
to
in
ring
your
up
show.
Sizzletown.
Sizzletown.
So
I
that's
know.
something we might expect.
Yeah, we
perhaps.
have a character called Giles Baratheon who often calls up, who's very, very concerned about particular details of things like Game of Thrones. But the other thing that, of course, you couldn't really do, as I'm talking, I've picked up a copy of Cocktail,
Tom Cruise, still alive and working today.
and directed by a New Zealander, although really from Ballarat, Roger Donaldson.
Oh,
This film has a lot less somersaults than Mission Impossible 8, Part
right.
2.
It's a lot more broken crockery. The thing about the VHS, of course, is it just had the film, whereas when you got the DVD, you got a commentary track and you got deleted scenes and extras. But we, in the D Generation group, we always tried to do an early version of that on VHS by having other things after the main feature.
yeah.
So if you rent the one we had before Degenocide, and then you get to the end of the credits, there's a bit of black, and then there's an extra bit called the bottom drawer, which is a lot of offcuts and leftovers. So that was like an early version of special features on a DVD.
And weren't there Easter eggs or something you used to talk about?
We put Easter
Eggs.
on a DVD of Barjas in the olden days. If you have that one, the goal was Santo Chilaro and myself wanted to make it the first DVD that had more hidden content than visible content, so that there's literally over an hour's worth of Easter eggs
Right.
that you can find by
Amazing.
faffing about with the direction button on the remote. But the earliest version I remember of seeing that, and this is kind of what inspired us to do this with the D-Generation VHSs, was the VHS of Broadway Danny Rose, the Woody Allen film, which if anyone is old enough might remember this. You got to the end of the film and the little caption came up, which Woody Allen would have been furious about because it was over his end credits. And it said, "Stay tuned for Tennis Elbow." And it was a short film made in Melbourne with a lot of famous Melbourne comedians of the early 80s, Los Trios, Ring Barkus, Mark Little, Jeff Kelso and Lance Curtis. And it's a short film which was a hit film on the film festival circuit. And it's like a 20-minute short and it's on the Broadway Danny Rose VHS after the main feature.
Does it feature on YouTube, dare I ask?
I don't know if
Because it
Tennis
sounds
Elbow,
like a beaut.
it's a classic, but I don't know if it's obtainable anymore. But that was the first time we'd seen that. It was like, whoa, hang on. You watch the film and then there's something extra after the film that's got nothing to do with the film.
I would
That was a new
experience
idea.
that all the time at Channel 31, where
Right.
they'd submit on mini DV, which is like a tiny video.
Yes. So this is an episode of a show, or is it a pilot?
This
or?
is an episode of a show, and they would submit it, and I would have to review it technically.
That
see
was
if
one
the
of your
sound was good.
jobs.
That was one of my jobs. And often they would have the edited episode, and then you'd have 60 seconds of black, and then you'd have all the outtakes
Oh, wow.
from that episode, and I would watch the entire mini DV because that was
The
the real
gold.
show. That was the gold. That was
Right.
all the awkwardness, just like, and here we are at St. No, let's do it again. Here and they would get, because often they would be shooting it themselves because they didn't have a crew. They would get more and more frustrated, and it was like watching a sketch. By the end of it, they just hated it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's just pick the last
very
one."
Alan Partridge.
You know,
That's what I realized my 31 experience was watching Partridge.
Movies for everyone.
I have an idea, guys. Why don't we hire a video from the video shop?
What? From this?
Yeah.
Are we allowed
Why don't
to
you
do that?
go up and pick a video, and we'll go to the counter and hire it.
Okay, so we really should do it at random, shouldn't we?
You can choose anything you want.
I reckon. Yeah, let's not look at what our choices are.
Okay.
Let's randomly choose a title,
Sure.
and we'll go up to the
So
counter.
pick a genre and then close your eyes.
I'm going to go to the comedy section.
All right.
I'm not looking.
Oh,
Put it
do I
behind
pick
your
the
back.
Matrix? Oh no, I can't.
oh, golden oldies.
Don't look. Jovan, do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
What are you renting from Videoland?
What can I do
I
for you?
have selected Wesley Snipes in Passenger 57.
Oh,
Brilliant
wow.
choice.
Is it?
Yes.
I have not seen this film.
It's who
Have
else
you-
is
have
who's
you,
the
Callum?
who's the bad guy? Is it Gary Busey?
I'm disappointed.
Tom
I didn't-
Sizemore?
Tom Sizemore.
Disappointed I didn't choose Blade.
Oh, you must see this. It's got the most wonderful finale in it where a plane flies out of his ear.
Oh.
It's quite exceptional.
That's a visual gag for you listeners.
I am renting. Oh my God! It's Robin Williams in Jack, the film we've already discussed at considerable length. All right,
Big 2, as it's known.
it's now Big Two.
I've never seen Tony look more cheated. There we go.
Furious.
Sorry, I should put that
Pete,
there.
what can I get for
Yes,
you?
thank you very much, Callum. I'm getting Rebel Without a Cause
Oh,
with
wow.
James Dean.
It's
Yeah.
basically the Pete Smith story. If you know anything about the young Pete in the 1950s, you know that he's getting around in a red leather jacket with a switchblade on the streets of Kew.
The Passenger 57 of its era, they say.
Yes, very much so.
Now that Callum has our videos, you can process them. Callum,
Yes,
do you want
sir.
to outro the show, Pete? Do you want to say goodbye to our listeners?
Yes, we've very much enjoyed being with you in your Videoland installation. We understand it's still running at the Melbourne Immigration Museum. Thanks for making us so welcome. We've spread our wings from the Hideout just for this special episode, and thank you all for listening to Tony Martin
Yes, that's me.
and this man here, Djovan Caro, the boy comedian, and me, the old Pete Smith,
From Videoland.
speaking.
And Callum, would you like to say your name with the word speaking after it?
Yes, this is Callum Preston speaking. No, I actually have a.
Oh, hang on.
I have a hand that is returning a videotape.
Oh my
And it
God,
has
it's not joking.
Callum
Yeah.
Preston's Videoland.
Try and get that through the slot.
And this is the anti-piracy man.